Hey Ileana, Maddie Saponis here. I am a senior, for those of you who do not know me. And Praise Crowd emailed me and asked if I wanted to talk about my eyes for Grey's Anatomy. So sophomore year, it was March 22 at 10 a.m. We had a softball game against Hanover. Now we were ready, it was the first game of the season, so we were nervous. So we go to that game, we played really hard, we really did, but we did not win. So when we went home that day, I went home with bacteria in my eye. So with going home with that bacteria in my eye and not knowing, I slept in my contacts like normal. I did it all the time, it was no big deal. So I slept in them, and I get up in the morning and they are just brutal. They are so red, they are very itchy, and so I take them out right away. I'm like, okay, I'll just wear my glasses, I'll be fine. Well, I go to bed and I can't. It just hurts so bad, it feels like it's burning out of the socket. So my mom gave me some eye drops and kind of like a, I told you so, you shouldn't have slept in them. And so we go and now it's Monday morning. So we wake up and it's even worse. It's red, it's swollen, it's puffy, it's possibly everything you can think of. And so we get up and she takes me to school. I am so late. There's 10 minutes left of first period and I'm in Mr. Dykstra's Bible class and we're watching Saul of Tarsus. So I walk in, and I have to walk in and then walk to his desk and give him the note. And so I walk in, I give him the note and he's like, whoa, like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I slept in my contacts, it's no big deal. He's like, okay, but if you need to go to the bathroom, like, that's fine. And I'm like, okay. So then from his desk, of course I'm sitting in the front row on the opposite side, so I had to walk all the way in front of everybody and sit down and like sit like this because I could not look at the screen. I could not do it. So after that class, I had Mr. Hahn's biology, and he had the same reaction. He was kind of like, what's going on? What are you doing? Like, you need to do something about that. And I'm like, oh, I just scratched my eye, like, it's no big deal. And he's like, no, it is a big deal. So I emailed Mom, and I was like, Mom, this is getting bad, like, we need to go check this out. She's like, okay, we'll go see Dr. Davids at Ileana Eye Care, which Dr. Davids is Mr. Davids' wife, lovely lady. So we go and see her, and you know how you have to do, like, you have to look at the barn and then do like the puff of air before you get like your eye exam? Well, I couldn't do it. We were sitting there for about 20 minutes. My mom had my bottom eyelid and Miss Davids had the top of my eyelid trying to get this puff of air in there. And I swear for 20 minutes, we could not do it. We couldn't do it. And so after that, she kind of just said whatever. And she's like, whatever. So we go in the exam room and she's looking at it. And I could tell she's kind of scared. Like, she's kind of nervous. And I don't blame her. I mean, that was scary for anybody. So she gives me these eye drops and she said, okay, take these every hour. And we're like, okay. Another night, no sleep. So we take them every hour and come back in the morning. And it is not better. I'm pretty sure it's worse. Like, it is so painful. I can't even see out of it anymore. It's like if you have a full water bottle and like you look through it, that's what my eyesight looked like. It was that bad. So she goes, this is bad. I am going to call a specialist and you're gonna go there. And we're like, okay. So she calls 3 of her top specialists, 3 of them, and they are all out of town. It's spring break, they're gone, nothing we can do. So she calls a friend and they get Dr. Nick. And so we went to see Dr. Nick that day. So we go and see him and we're sitting in the waiting room and there's all these old people and we're like, are we in the right place here? I don't know. And so he called us back and we go in there and he's examining my eye and he gives me these blue eye drops, and so he can look at them with like his phone camera so it's easier to see, and and he took a picture of it. And then he gave me these yellow eye drops. Now these yellow ones are my favorite because they numb your eye. They numb your eye. And it feels so great because you feel no pain. And then at that point, I could finally open it. So after that, he said I had a pseudomonas corneal ulcer, and the bacteria that got in under my contact, and because I slept in them, it damaged the surface of my eye, my cornea, and created an ulcer. Now, he gave me strong antibiotics. Like, we had to go to the drugstore where they made them, like a drug lab where they made them. And so when I went to go get those, and he's like, take them every hour. Now there's 2 of them, so you have to like rotate them. We're like, okay. So we took them every hour. Now we got no sleep. My mom was staying up with me too because she knew I wouldn't do it by myself. So every hour on the hour we were taking these. And we go back the next day, and he's like, all right, doing better, but we still need to keep going. We're like, okay. So then he goes every 2 hours. Every 2 hours, and then I come back again. And then he goes, okay, every 4 hours. We're like, okay, so it's getting better. And so when we go back, he gets an amniotic stem cell placenta contact. It's like, probably like this big. And it was very painful to get that thing in and out. So he puts it in, and he goes, all right, this is gonna stay in your eye for 2 weeks, and the inside ring is going to break down to recover the surface of your eye, and all that's gonna be left is the ring. We're like, okay, that's fine. So he puts that in, we leave it in for 2 weeks while we're still taking the antibiotics. And then we go back, he takes it out, and he said my vision was good enough. We're like, good enough? What does that mean? He said good enough because the corneal ulcer is like dead center of my eye. Now sometimes you don't have to worry about them. Sometimes they'll be like lower and they don't obstruct your vision. But for me it did. So he goes, I'm gonna give you a sclerotial contact lens. It's probably like this big, a little bit bigger than a normal contact lens. So he goes, I'm gonna give you this contact, and you're gonna use that until you can have surgery. Or like, surgery? And he said, yeah, by the time you're 21, 22, when your eyes stop developing. So the beginning of everything, my eye looked like as if you would hold up a full water bottle and look through it. Well, now it looks like if you hold up a water bottle, an empty water bottle, and look through it. Like, it's still pretty bad, but we're still working on it, work in progress. So after I got my contact, I finally went back to school after being gone for like a month and a half. It was a long time. So I go back and I walk in Mr. Dykstra's first period again. And he goes, Maddie, how's the eye? He goes, is it doing better? And I was like, yeah, it's doing better, but I can't really see like exactly perfect. So he sits back and he goes, well, then do I look like a supermodel? And I was like, yes, for sure. But so being back in school was just fantastic for me. Like, to go back and have everyone praying and asking how I was and being like, do you need anything? And my teachers, they cut me a lot of slack when that was going on for my work. They gave me time to do it. They were very understanding, and I loved that. So with that, the teachers were so caring. Students were so caring. Students I didn't even know were emailing me and trying to find a way to communicate and ask if I was okay. And my grandma reached out to her church boards, for bagel boards, like anything you can possibly think of to get people to pray and make this okay. And prayer really got me through it all. I mean, God had my hand the whole way. There is no way my vision would be good enough, or I could have kept my eye. Like, it could have been so bad. I could have gone blind. I could have lost my eye. I could have been 10 times worse if God wasn't there through our hand, through it all, through these doctors, through everything. And I'm very thankful for that, and for everybody else that was praying and took the time and consideration to be there for me, even if they didn't know me. So it kind of opened my eyes to be like, if someone needs prayer, you pray. Like, it does make a great deal of help. It really does. And so with that, I ask that you guys, pretty please, don't sleep in your contacts. I don't care if you went to work, if you went to school, and you just didn't feel like taking them out. You never know. Now, what I went through was very painful, and I really wouldn't want that on anybody else. I mean, you could not get a serious infection as I did, but you could still get something. And it is definitely not worth contacts. So I ask that you please do not sleep in your contacts, because it is not worth it. You don't want to go through this pain or something else and have to go through that great deal of trouble. You really don't. Now, I wanted to thank Praise Crowd for letting me talk today. I very much appreciate it. So I hope you guys took from this to not wear your contacts. I know I said it like 800 times, but it's very important. So with that, I just want to say thank you.